Hi, good afternoon or good evening, whatever time you're listening. I would like to welcome you to our first ever Pompey podcast, brought to you by Pompey Memes. What we're going to be doing is looking to get you guys involved with views, so you can always tweet us at Pompey Memes if you want to get involved. We're also going to be looking to do a quiz with each of our podcasts, so if you're interested in getting involved with that, then if you can direct message us and we'll get back to you with that. So this is our first podcast, I'm just going to briefly introduce your two contributing hosts. My name's Chiv and I'm a season ticket holder in the Accrington end. I've been going to Pompey for about 20 odd years now, so seen my fair share of games. Go home and away with my fellow host here, who I'm going to hand over to introduce himself.
Hello, my name is Sam and I'm also a season ticket holder at Accrington Park, following Pompey home and away, and we'll be looking to bring you as many anecdotes as possible from our trips. But today on the show we're going to be talking a couple of things. We're going to be talking about the two games at Accrington Park, Accrington Stanley and Blackpool, but also Gareth Evans, Paul Cook, and we're going to be previewing our game against Barnet coming up at the weekend.
Okay, so before we get started, let's remind ourselves of what happened in the home game against Accrington Stanley.
Taken by Gary Roberts, it'll be left-footed, so it'll be an outswing and it's a short one. Played into the box, here's Roberts again, good cross, there's a header, and it's a goal! It's Matt Clark! And it's after 1 minute and 15 seconds, what a start from Pompey! Not cleared by Pompey, there's Key, cleared almost off the line by Evans, there's Clark, cleared by the keeper, outstretched foot, ball bobbles, cleared by Accrington Stanley. Yet again it was Matt Clark. Here comes the throw from Stanley. But it's won back by Pompey. Can they have a break on here? It's Cal Naismith. He's through a goal. Cal Naismith's in. It must be a goal. It is a goal! And that's the cherry on top for Paul Cook's side. It's Pompey 2, Accrington Stanley 0. And that is the final play of the afternoon. Referee Gavin Ward has blown his whistle. It's finished Pompey 2, Accrington Stanley 0.
So those were the highlights from the Pompey match against Accrington Stanley on Saturday. So we did ask after the Accrington game for some of you to get in touch with us and tell us your views. So half of our followers have got in touch. We've got 3 messages here. Anthony Irvine got in touch and he said, "What a start, what a finish. Could have done without the 88 minutes spent in the freezing nervous tension." I think we all agree with you on that.
Yeah, definitely.
James Nibbs got in touch and said Naismith giving it to the fans, #good lad, and we'll get on to that. And Andy Saunders said, "Today we won ugly, but that's how to beat some of these teams, play up Pompey." And I think if we want to go up, we want to win some games ugly rather than just playing pretty all the time. But anyway, it didn't exactly make for the best spectacle, and it was pretty cold out there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was absolutely freezing. I had double socks on, gloves, woolly hat, neck warmer.
Did you think when it went 1-0 up within the first minute? I mean, Gary Roberts had that attempt straight before the corner kick, which I thought was a pretty decent save. Did you think there was going to be 4 or 5-0 Pompey from there?
No, to be honest. No, I'm too used to it now. We know what's going to happen. Too many times at home games I've found myself where we go 1-0 up, expecting us to push on to 2, 3, 4, but to be honest, that's simply not how Cook's teams work, and I think we need to accept that.
He's admitted that, hasn't he, in his interviews recently? He's actually said that wouldn't be a team under me going and killing the game off.
Yeah, and I think he's half joking, and he's half serious. He knows that. He knows his teams can't do that. We're simply not playing with the confidence to be banging in that amount of goals in a single game. So we're going to have to fight out the wins. And the last week we've seen 2 really battling performances and 2 wins. And to be honest, I'll take every game of the season like that now. I really don't care how we win.
I think most people will feel the same about that. Matt Clark could have had a hat-trick.
Yeah, he got himself into good positions. I think his form has rocketed in recent weeks. He's always been good. He's always been solid, but he's just been unbelievably good.
How good is that deal? I think that deal between us and Ipswich, then getting rid of Adam Webster. I mean, he's a cracking player, but equally as good as Matt Clark, I think. And isn't Matt Clark younger as well? And we got some money.
Well, at the moment, it's looking a good deal. Obviously, time will tell.
Why? Because he's injured, Webster.
Well, not that, but the fact that Webster could obviously go on to be a good player, a really good player at the top level, but then Clark could as well. I think we definitely got a good end of the deal in the short term. Long term, we'll have to wait and see. But, you know, we literally had no choice. Webster was offered a deal by a bigger club. He wanted to go, so he's going to go. So to get Clark our money was an exceptional, if not the exceptional piece of transfer dealing by Cook.
He's actually really good about his transfer deals. I mean, to get Owen Doyle. That's slightly off topic. Speaking about the Accrington match, substitutions were a bit weird. I mean, I won't lie. When the board went up for Gary Roberts Jamal Lowe, and he was trotting off, and then it was replaced by Gary Roberts' number, I was relieved because I did prefer to have Jamal Lowe on the pitch. I didn't celebrate.
There were a few boos though, weren't there, from around us?
Were they? I didn't.
Yeah,
I definitely heard the cheering,
yeah,
but I wouldn't actually say the cheering was for Gary Roberts going off. I think it was more the fact that Jamal Lowe was still staying on the pitch.
Yeah, it definitely was. No question, it was.
And he's been a bright spark throughout all the games so far. I mean, Leyton Orient was the first match he played. I think it was. But yeah, the substitution were a bit weird. I don't know if you didn't see Paul Cook, did you? When the official got the board wrong.
No, you did. You did nudge me and tell me, but
you done some.
At the time, I've got to say, I was sceptical that it was an accident. Maybe that's just.
But that's probably. That's probably because the week beforehand, I think it was the week beforehand, he was saying basically that the fans dictated the way that I lined up this match. So I can understand you being sceptical about it.
I think that's. I personally think that was a bit tongue-in-cheek from Cook. I don't think he takes fans' views into consideration that much. Of course, he knows what selections will give him an easier time, but if he feels a certain player needs to play, then he'll play him, and that's proven in Roberts. Because a lot of the fans don't want Roberts starting, but he's started the last couple of games, and I expect him to start the next couple as well.
I think we've pretty much, aside from the new signing, I think that's basically going to be the lineup for the rest of the year. I think the new player will come in somewhere, but other than that, I can't see Chaplin getting in.
No, I think Chaplin's going to have to sit on the bench for the rest of the season pretty much. He might be used as an impact player, especially if Doyle gets a knock, but...
Well, then Noel Hunt was preferred to come on as well, because Noel Hunt set up Cal Naismith, who before he scored the goal received a lot of grief from a section in the North Stand. And I've got an anecdote about that actually. I've got a relative that's got a season ticket in the North Stand, and there was a bloke giving abuse to Naismith the whole game. I think more than likely, because it came from the same section, was the guy that was abusing him. So he stood up out the way at one point just because he was getting a right earful, and he just turned to the guy, just looked at him, and he was offered out. So that just goes to show the nice people you get at Fratton Park.
Well, unfortunately, that's exactly what we've had to deal with this season.
Yeah, because we've moved, haven't we?
We've had to move, not because we got a moaner, but we had to move our season tickets. But there's a lot of moaners at Fratton Park. They don't know what they're looking at half the time. They're too quick to criticise. They're not looking at the bigger picture. If they were, they would know that Naismith is technically one of the best players at the club. You can tell that by just his touch and the way he plays. If you watch him in the warm-up, you can see technically he's extremely gifted. And from what I hear, this guy gave him a mouthful of abuse, telling him that he shouldn't be in the starting lineup and he shouldn't even be in the squad. Naismith told him to politely go away.
Yeah, and I
don't blame him. I'm fully behind Naismith with that.
And I liked his celebration as well, because it kind of did shut the fan up at the end. But go on. I understand why Naismith did that. He is quite hot-headed, Naismith. We've seen it in him before. We saw him lose his temper down in the corner of the Fratton end when that Mansfield,
when he didn't cross the ball, and I was equally frustrated, but I'm not going to shout abuse at him during the game. But someone shouted abuse at him, and he lost his temper with the South Stand. So we know he's got it in him. He is hot-headed, but you know, we need to get behind our players. We can't be giving them abuse, shouting things like you shouldn't be in the squad, what on earth do people think that's going to achieve?
Well, 90 minutes is the time to go and support the team, isn't it? And then you can abuse them, not to their face, down the pub afterwards, which, let's be honest, we can sometimes do that. We're not going to lie.
Yeah, but we try and look at it from a football point of view. I'm not going to scream blatant abuse at
there was
players.
a lot of personal abuse aimed at some of the Pompey players recently. Anyway, I wouldn't say the last game. I think it was a very, very good atmosphere at Fratton Park the last game.
I just don't get where some of our fans are going with this. If you were at work, if my boss came up to me at work and started shouting at me, calling me effing this, effing that, how on earth do you think that's going to motivate another human being by doing that?
Did I tell you that story?
I just don't think. What?
About my boss?
Did he?
No.
I just don't see where people think they're going with that. It's not going to do anything. It's been so disappointing. So when Naismith ran over to do that, the sort of shush symbol to the North Stand fan, half of me was like, yep, fair enough, I understand why he did that, but the other half of me was pretty upset, to be honest. I was really upset by it. What's our support come to where our own team, our own players are doing the shush symbol to our own fans?
I agree, but at the end of it, we did get 3 points, and we did have another game 3 days later against Blackpool. Should we have a little listen to the highlights?
Yeah, let's do that. As do Portsmouth, of course, with Owen Doyle giving chase down this left-hand side, and he's actually got in behind Owen Doyle. He's got the ball in the penalty area. Here's Roberts through on goal. He struck the crossbar from 7 yards. It looked easier to score from Roberts. He was in acres of space, and he manages to slam the ball against the crossbar. 35 yards out, Pompey. Ender Stevens on the left. His man's standing him up, but can he get past him? Drives the ball low across the box. Jamal Lowe, Gareth Evans dispatched into the top corner. Great finish from the right back, and Pompey take the lead here at Fratton Park on Valentine's Day. Gareth Evans, the goal scorer. Long ball forward. Gary Roberts with the header towards the far post. It's only just wide of the mark. The Blackpool man is inside the penalty area. There's a chance here for Blackpool, and it's a brilliant block there by Ender Stevens. And now Pompey can play the ball forward. Here is Owen Doyle. One-on-one with Robertson. He's got past him, Owen Doyle, to the edge of the box, and now Blackpool are back in numbers. What can he do here? Here's Baker, into the box, Baker, across to Doyle, and there's Doyle's first goal in blue, and what a crucial one it could prove to be. It's the second of the match. It's another late one for Pompey, but it's 3 points for them today, as he lifts the corner flag and waves it around. A romantic affair on the south coast here. Again, Pompey leaving it till late to secure all 3 points.
So those were the Blackpool highlights from the other night. So we're going to have a chat about that game. So the first thing we're going to have a talk about is the increase in atmosphere. So Sam, I was just wondering what your thoughts on that were.
I really enjoyed that. Recently I haven't been enjoying it at Fratton Park, but that was brilliant. I mean, the section where we were, we'll sing half the time and no one else will join in, but anyone could just start a song and within a second you got 5-6 people joining in. It just built on from there. It was brilliant, and I don't know if that was to do with SOS Pompey, but fair play to them for putting it out. It might have also been to do with the fact that it was a Tuesday night game, and everyone, I mean, you can't not love a Tuesday night game, can you?
No, exactly, and it was our first Tuesday night game in a long time.
Since last season, wasn't it?
I can't remember. Yeah, we definitely haven't had one this year. I can't remember one for a long time.
Tranmere 3-2 is the last one I remember, where we came from.
I missed that game.
Did you?
I was at Queen concert. That's Adam Lambert
not a
concert.
good. That's not a good.
You were texting me every 5 minutes.
Well, I can't remember. So
but yeah, I think that obviously the evening games contribute to it, but I just got the feeling that the win on the previous weekend was a huge relief, and we knew we had to get behind the side. I think that had as much to do with it as the fact it was an evening game.
And they felt it, didn't they? I mean, there's been videos of Paul Cook on Twitter where he's dancing around. I mean, at the end of the game when Owen Doyle scores, and he's bouncing around on the touchline, jumping up and down.
Yeah.
And that's because the atmosphere was so incredible when we scored that. I mean, sometimes we'll score and they'll just be, you know, the Blue Army again. But when we scored that second one, it was absolutely mental. I mean, we ended up in the road behind us, didn't we?
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Just a pure relief. It just felt like a flashback to a few seasons ago when we actually got behind the side rather than criticise them all the time. and I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. For the first home game I've enjoyed it in a while.
And they played with freedom, didn't they? Because the fans weren't on their back.
Exactly.
They weren't tense. They went out and it was entertaining. More entertaining than Accrington was, definitely.
Yeah, you could absolutely tell that. When the players got the ball, they seemed scared of running forward and going forward, where, from my point of view, they were previously hesitant to go forward for fear of losing the ball. They seemed to play with more freedom and a higher tempo, especially in the first half. I thought we played really well.
It all worked together, didn't it? I mean, they were entertaining us because we were singing, but by being entertained, we sang more. So it's just one good, rather than a vicious circle. Actually, it was a productive circle. Is that
exactly? Well, it's the thing now. But the atmosphere was good right from the start, wasn't it? That was clear. I mean, the guys. We obviously try and start songs, but the guys a couple of rows in front of us near Westwood, they were full at it from minute one, and it really helped, and everyone bought into it. It was really good, and it was so positive. It's been commented on by the Blackpool manager. He commented how that was an amazing atmosphere. It made the difference. Doyle commented on it, saying that's the atmosphere he'd heard about. That kind of, if you can read into that, I'd say that's him saying that previously he hasn't really experienced the atmosphere he'd heard about here, but that game was the first one he had. So yeah, really good. We've got to keep that going at home. Away, I'm not worried about away.
It's always fun away, isn't it?
Always good away. Always good away from home. Barnet on Saturday is going to be absolutely crazy with that amount of fans.
And we're going for a nice piss up in London beforehand, so we're definitely going to be feeling atmospheric. And,
yep, one of the few games I can get the train, so
have a nice day out in London. We'll say day out, we're going to be in a pub most of it.
Might have a shandy and a Wetherspoons burger.
Yeah, but I think it'll be a little bit more than that. Can we also just praise, I don't know, you must have noticed, but it's never really registered me recently, there's a guy a couple of rows in front of us with a Pompey flag waving it about.
I know what you mean.
And I'll tell you what, fair play to him, because I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be that fussed if someone picked up a flag every now and then and waved it in front of me, because
haven't some of our stewards got a thing about flags being a fire hazard, apparently?
Well, how come that? I wouldn't get.
I don't know how he
one
gets in. Maybe he hides it down his track.
But I know that because you see it on Twitter with some of our followers. They are messaging the PST just asking what can we do about flags and stuff. And for me, I'm game for that. I'm really game
for flags. Yeah.
And I love people bringing in ripped up newspaper and lobbing it when we score.
Well, you'll have the health and safety boys on you.
Well,
fire hazard. But a little bit's fine. And yeah, I'm all up for flags.
Usually it's betting slips when your bets have been screwed up, because I do it.
That's normally you after the first 10 minutes.
That's because we're already
with dodgy accumulators.
Yeah. Anyway, Gareth Evans put us 1-0 up.
He did, and it was a quality finish from a player.
How underestimated is he?
I love the man.
I know.
He's absolutely brilliant, and I told him that to his face when I met him. He's a great player. Absolutely outstanding.
And the fact that he's playing out of position as well, and he's still so... Just imagine if he was playing behind one of the strikers. I mean, you could debate all day about who you'd want to drop him for, or drop out for Gareth Evans to go up there. But even from right back, he's just bringing so much to the team.
Yeah, and I think he's grown into that position. Early season, I had concerns. He's all right going forward. We know that. We know his quality going forward. But earlier in the season, he got caught out several times. All you had to do was put a nippy winger on him and put him on the back foot, and he would just literally fall on his arse. So
I don't think it helps as well that he didn't have his best of the performances on live TV against Doncaster, and he might have been at fault for 2 of the goals. So a lot of fans that don't necessarily go to many Pompey games would watch that and then would have had their opinion of Gareth Evans solidified just from that one game.
That would be unfair to judge him on one game. But that's what you get. You're playing a right midfielder at right back. So he's going to make mistakes. Cook knows that. Cook plays with an attacking philosophy. So ultimately he's going to do way... And we've seen that in the last 2 home games. He's going to do way more attacking. 3/4 of his game is going to be attacking to 1/4 defending. With Clark and Burgess there to help him, and Stevens, who's also superb at this level, it works. We've got one of the best defences in the Football League and the best in League 2. So we can't say it's not working.
And Stevens had a couple of heavy touches, which was making me think that he wasn't going to have a very good game against Blackpool. However, he did get an assist, and then he did make a crucial block. So, it just shows how, not necessarily much we rely on our right and left back, but how much they actually add to the team. It's not just a case of defending. They are so pivotal to what we do. They always get behind those three players and overlap. And Gareth Evans, we can praise him all day long, because you and me, we both love him. But he was taken off through injury.
Yeah, again, his ankles. Well, it was his arm actually this time, but we always worry, don't we? We've got like a little bit of a running joke in our group. Him with his glass ankles.
He's always down injured, but people do target him.
He gets heavy challenges. His ankles are obviously vulnerable. You see him go. He's holding his ankles quite a lot. I understand that.
Do you reckon opposition know that and they aim for him?
I don't know if they're that calculated. They might be.
Wickham would be.
He got crunched quite heavily at Plymouth in the playoffs, didn't he? Which caused him to go off. So he's done well to come back from that. But going back to what you're saying about our right back and left backs, Stevens and Evans, we are extremely fortunate to have players of that quality in those positions. And I think that would be proven if any one of them were to get injured for a length of time. We would be in big trouble. If both of them got injured, I'd go as far to say our promotion push would be over.
Has Stevens ever been injured?
Well, exactly. He missed one game last year. Was it? He was dropped for one game. Was that? He was due to have 100%. And then he rested him. He's a machine. Evans is the fittest guy at the club. We've been told that before. But we've got to hope that they don't get injured. We simply cannot afford to lose them. They are pivotal to the way we play.
It got to a point where Blackpool were pushing us back, and we were getting quite frustrated because it wasn't nervy, and we had a back line of about 7, and we were wanting Pompey to push on a bit and get that second goal. And every time the ball was kicked forward, so we were starting to lump it. We weren't playing our usual Pompey. How good was Owen Doyle at just running, chasing absolutely everything down on his own? I think that guy brings so much to our squad. You can tell that he's a championship player, because when we said at Wickham, he was just doing things that Michael Smith wouldn't have dreamed of. And that's no disrespect to Michael Smith, but he is a better player.
Yeah, he is a better player. He's better at everything about the game than Smith. He gives us that option. He's got energy. He'll chase things down. You can see by the second goal, he was 1 against 3 defenders, and he's using Baker. He created space to score a goal. And again, we're not going to get on Smith's back here, but Smith would never have done that. He would have held the ball up, and they would have got players back, and it would have been end of. So he brings a lot to the side. Blackpool did come back into it second half. Only a fool would have said they wouldn't. I would have liked us to killed off the game, but they were always going to come back into it. They've just beaten Carlisle 4-1.
I know, which is a scary thing.
Carlisle, and who then Carlisle beat Donny 2-1. So
does that technically make us?
Yeah, I'd take that. No. If only football works like that. Of course it doesn't work like that.
Sound like Plymouth fans, don't we?
But Blackpool were always going to come back into it. You cannot expect to dominate games from minute 1 to minute 90. It's not going to work. So you have to be able to soak up the pressure. But I'm always confident we can do that with our back line. And the first time in many, many years I can say that. I'm always confident we can keep a clean sheet.
And we touched on how passionate Paul Cook was. And I've said it before, because I've met Paul Cook loads and loads and loads of times. I'm not being big at it, it's only because I linger sometimes. Not in a weird way.
You hang around.
I do. And the guy just, I'm not going to quote the tweet that the video came from, but he does just ooze passion. This man is, I'm not going to say his blood is blue, because he's a Liverpool fan, but
he describes himself as a Pompey fan.
Exactly, and he says that he's going to be back at the Fratton end.
Yep.
So we're going to get a season ticket with him whenever he retires, because we don't want him sacked. Even if we don't go up, I'd still want him in next year.
Yeah, I agree. He needs to stay. He needs to be given more time if we don't go up. But I'm confident we can we are competing well this season, and we'll continue to compete till the end of the season. But yeah, that's for another time. I think talking about his future, got to focus on our promotion race.
So that was Blackpool. We won it again, 2-0, last minute goal. We asked you to get in touch after the game. Only one person did, Chiv.
Yeah, Anthony Irvine, you ledge. The ledge, as he tweeted us. He's put man of the match ? I thought the number 12 had a pretty good game.
Which we spoke about. Obviously, the fans getting behind the team.
Yeah, what was who was he referring to?
The 12th man.
Oh, is that what you... Oh, okay.
Number 12.
I see. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm a bit slow.
Okay.
Slow.
But thank you, Anthony, for getting it, because you've got in twice, so we do really appreciate that. And we encourage you all to get in touch with us again. Obviously, it's the first time, so if you listen this far, fantastic.
Who would you give your man of the match to then?
Well, I've seen a couple of polls on Twitter. People were saying Lingardzi. I don't know. People were saying Ender Stevens, but again, as I said, he had a
team of the week.
Yeah, no, I saw that.
Yeah.
I did see EFL
team
of the week. Done 12th man. Yeah, that's a good shout, because you could pick a number of people. I think Doyle ran his socks up front. Gareth Evans, which is brilliant, but he only played. How long did he play? Did he go off second half or first half? Second half.
Second half, I think.
I don't think. For me personally, I don't think Lingardzi deserved
mid second half, didn't he? Watmore came on as well, and Baker went to. Was it Baker went to?
No, Naismith weirdly went to.
Oh yeah, Naismith. Yeah, that was. Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
because that was odd. And the fact that he brought Watmore on as well, I would have thought that he would have just brought Watmore on early and just put.
I think Watmore came on to counteract their subs. So their subs came on and they were going to play hoofball, and Watmore was brought on to counteract that, and he did very, very well
against the lovely Jamal Matt, who we all remember.
Oh, I hate him. I can't stand that guy. He ruined last season for me.
So Wednesday after the Blackpool match, Pompey announced a couple of things. Ian Foster left the club by mutual consent to go and take up a key position with the FA at St George's Park. Fair play to him?
Yeah, absolutely. No criticism whatsoever.
Unlike
left to improve himself.
Unlike some of Neil Allen's followers who commented on one of Neil Allen's articles saying he's abandoning a ship because we're not going to go up.
Yeah, rats abandoning a sinking ship. Unbelievable. These guys are brainless morons.
And
what a stupid thing to say.
I can't remember that crappy musician guy that supports us.
Brian Howe.
Yeah, he also said that he was abandoning the ship. But no, I'm sorry, but if you get offered a job with England and the FA, you're not going to say no.
Are you going to take it? What you third in the hierarchy at a League Two side to a position in with the national setup? You're having a laugh, aren't you? Good luck to him. I thank him for his time here.
But those fans think Pompey are probably bigger than England, so that's probably why.
Oh, we are.
Okay. We also announced that. Am I going to say this? Stanley Abora? Is that
Will I am? If any of you saw our tweet, yeah. We're delighted we signed Will I am.
That made me laugh so much. I remember him actually playing when I went up to Nottingham last year when Brian Murphy ruined my day.
He ripped us a new one, didn't he, at their place?
Yeah, he played really, really well. But I've no idea where he's going to play.
Well, judging by Liam Richardson's comments today, he is a defensive midfielder.
No, he said he was attacking.
He said he can see him playing in one of the two deeper roles.
Did he?
Yeah, in an interview today.
No, I read that he said that he was going to play in an attacking role.
No. So...
Agree. Let's just agree to disagree. But he said that he was going to be a central midfielder, and yet someone from Nottingham Mail or whatever it is up there said that he could play as a striker.
He said in his interview he can play. He sees himself as a central midfielder, but he's played as a striker. So mixed messages. I don't know.
He probably is going to start at right back.
Yeah, maybe. No, he's gonna. I mean, who's he been brought in? Why would we sign this player? That's what I've been thinking about the last couple of days. Why have we signed him? So there must be a reason to bring in another player. We don't have any obvious injuries in that area. We have plenty of backup. So why has he signed him? My personal view, what I feel. I think he's losing faith in Roberts, who's looked leggy the last couple of games, despite having been rested for what seems like ever. He's looked leggy. I think the idea is that he may replace Roberts.
Would he drop him though? Would he drop Gary Roberts?
Yes, he would.
Okay.
Yeah, he would. I've every faith in him.
But he's not.
He's
once.
done it already this season. He's dropped him. Roberts is not producing.
But that was
goods.
because he did need a break. It wasn't because he was playing bad. He just needed a break because we look at him 10 minutes in and he's knackered.
He's blowing. He makes one run, he's blowing. Now, whether that's just his body language, maybe he just reacts like that. But he looks like he's blowing after a couple of minutes.
You can't help but laugh when we hoof the ball up the pitch, unlike we do, and it's Gary Roberts that's chasing it down.
Right.
I always chuckle to myself.
So in the midweek game, there was a massive clearance, wasn't there? Roberts ran the whole pitch to chase it down, and everyone just this big sigh around us, as in like, well, that's him done for the game because he's going to be out now. And yeah, I don't know. I think Roberts was brought in to do a job, and simple as he doesn't do it. So Cook must be looking to solidify the central area as we go into the running.
Fair view. Fair enough. I don't know what to say about him. I don't know where he's going to play. But we've got Barnet at the weekend. In fact, it's a big weekend for League 2 fixtures. Doncaster are playing Luton, Wycombe Wanderers are playing Carlisle, and I think Exeter are playing Stevenage, if memory serves me right.
Yeah, so Donny have got Luton. We obviously need Luton to drop points. Donny, as far as I'm concerned, are uncatchable, so any favours they can do, that would be great.
If you say Doncaster are uncatchable though, surely Plymouth are uncatchable, because Plymouth are only Plymouth and them, they could swap places pretty much each weekend.
I don't want to give Plymouth a compliment.
Okay, Doncaster are uncatchable, Plymouth are... Well,
Doncaster look better from what I've seen of them, but yeah, all fair play to Plymouth, they're doing okay. I don't think they're the biggest bottle jobs in League 2, we know that, which is saying something if we're in the league, but they're massive bottle jobs, but I don't think they're going to bottle it this year. I think they're gonna go up in the automatics. We got to keep our eye on, it's Carlisle that we've got to overturn, obviously Luton and Wycombe, and Mansfield.
Mansfield, are they in amongst us now?
They've been on a bit of a run, haven't they, recently?
I didn't even realise Mansfield
yeah,
were up.
they're
I
up
hadn't even
now.
checked the table.
Well, they're up now into 7th on 47 points, so they're only 4 points behind us.
Well, at least two teams around us are going to drop points, because obviously Doncaster are playing Luton, Wycombe are playing Carlisle, so not everyone can win, not everyone's going to get 3 points. There's still ground for us to either make up on the teams above us or to get away from the teams behind us.
It's so tight. People are, we've got one guy around us who, pretty much has written us off for top 3 before the last 2 games, and now look at it. We could be within 1 point of Carlisle when we play our game in hand.
And we've still got Carlisle to play.
We're still well in it. Anyone who says we're not is just a negative moaner. And you know how I feel about the moaners. It is well open for us. That top 3 place is literally laid on a plate for us. We just have to put a run together.
So you and me are off to London Saturday.
Yep.
Gonna go find a spoons, find a pub, and we're gonna have a right old knees up.
That's the plan anyway.
Although now we've got seats, whereas last time we went to Barnet we had that corrugated metal...
No, trampoline. When it was a terrace, it was a trampoline. It was lethal.
We were all jumping up and down, and there was a little lady in front of us. I mean, she was, I don't know, young, wasn't she? But she was very small,
yeah.
And with all the Pompey fans jumping up and down, I think she...
Have you ever seen a little kid on a bouncy castle when grown-ups are bouncing on it? That's what that girl was like.
I really felt
she was holding on for her life.
I really felt for it. Even I was losing my balance.
But now they've got a new stand, and to be honest, it looks absolutely superb. For League 2, it looks superb.
It's a tidy ground anyway. A really nice tidy ground.
Yeah,
anyway.
it is. Yeah, nice and modern.
And if I'm correct in the amount of tickets that we've sold, I think there's going to be more away fans than home fans, which there was last time when you'd never guess who scored for them. It was a
Kindy pen. Yeah, that's default. They should just paste that in.
What are the odds going to be on that? Do you reckon it'll be odds on?
Get odds on it.
No.
He always gets a pen, but again, our defence is good. So,
will this be the first time? I think this is the first time this season that if we win, that's 3 on the bounce. The last time we had 2 on the bounce was earlier this season, Mansfield, Cambridge, I think it was. So 3 under Cook.
We know that. We know what Cook does. I've said this so many times. If anyone follows me on Twitter, I've said it so many times. Cook is a win-win lose draw. Win-win lose draw.
You got a chance to plug yourself now.
Have I?
Yeah.
So my Twitter handle's at Pompey Chiv. If you want to follow me.
Cool.
Sam, what's yours?
No, I'm not. No.
You're the Pompey memes one. You're going off your Pompey memes.
I'm going for the Pompey memes.
Okay, so we're going to, as part of our podcast, we're going to try and do a couple of features. One of those is our din low of the week. What we're going to do, we're on Pompey memes are on Facebook and we're on Twitter. We get tagged in a lot of stuff. We're linked to a few Twitter accounts, aren't we? So we keep a good close eye on what fans are saying. And there's plenty to pick from at the moment.
There is.
There's one particular one that caught your eye. Who was that?
Nick Atkins on Twitter.
Pompey starting striker finally scores, but scraping another home win with too few shots on target isn't promotion form. Hashtag Paul Cook out.
We did do a quoted tweet about him, but what an absolute bellend. Yeah?
Just unbelievable thing to say.
After 2 back-to-back wins, the game against Blackpool where we just played so well, the atmosphere, and he has to say something negative. What a complete and utter tosser.
When confronted by other fans on Twitter, he went on to say that he reckons he has good eyesight. I disagree. He said that Cook is too negative. This is him, quote, Cook is too negative and sucks positivity from good players. I think that's his view on Cook.
Who does he mean?
He's talking absolute rubbish.
What players are... I mean, a lot of players aren't fulfilling their potential, but sucks positivity.
I mean, I saw another fan on Facebook say a similar thing in the week, that their belief was that Cook plays negative football. You cannot say that. That's statistically wrong.
Aren't we like the highest? Aren't we like the highest? I don't know if it's in our division for the most shots that we have.
Yeah. So there's a guy on
Ben's
Twitter, Ben something.
Maybe
he does like stats. Yeah, he does stats. Very interesting. He looks at all the different stats from games, and we are on the League 2 table of that. We're the best team in the league. Now, obviously, that means nothing. It's points on the board, but attacking wise, minutes spent in our own half versus minutes spent in the opposition half, and attacking football, we are by far the best team in the league. So for fans to turn around and say we're negative is just unbelievable. Like, unbelievable.
Well, congratulations to Nick Atkins. You are the first Dinlow of the week. We're going to be trying to do it every podcast. I'm pretty sure we're going to have enough material. Not that we're going to want you to provide it for us. We'd rather you just saw positivity in games rather than just put shit out there just to wind people up, which could potentially... Well, it doesn't sound like from his replies that he is fishing.
No, I don't think he was. I thought he was fishing at first, but no. But yeah, we'll be keeping an eye out, so we'll catch those Dinlows.
But please do let us know if you do see him, and there's also a good account on Twitter, Pompey Moaners.
Pompey Moaners, yeah.
Let them know. They'll always go out and shame the Dins. Hashtag cocks out, right?
Okay, so that's going to be it for our first of these Pompey podcasts brought to you by Pompey Memes. Thanks very much for joining us. I hope you liked it. We're always up for fair criticism and comments and any constructive views you have. So if you want to, you can send them to us at Pompey Memes, or we're Pompey Memes on Facebook as well.
And get in touch as well if you want to take part in the 1 minute quiz that we're going to be bringing going forward as well. But from myself, Sam and Chiv, Thank you very much.
See you next time.